now in Sao Paulo.
Well, thank you very much, Hugh. During the last year, while the rest of the world was mired in deep recession, in this country, they were producing a new millionaire every 10 minutes. This city, Sao Paulo, the kind of financial powerhouse of Latin America, is a city of superlatives, more privately owned helicopters and armored limos than any other city on the planet. But remember, Hugh, this is also a very big country, and there are 60 million people who are still mired in deep poverty. Bridging the gap between the haves and the have-nots, that's going to be the key to Brazil's ongoing success. Models seducing citizens into buying government-subsidized housing. The rest of the world may be regretting its property bubble and slashing handouts. In Brazil, the party has only just started. They may not look like it, but these are low-income families desperate to get onto the housing ladder. By giving them up to 25% of the purchase price, the government is giving them a leg up the social ladder. I'm still poor, she told us, but I'll get to the middle class. The program is called My Life, My Home, and the man behind it is so popular, they parade him around like an effigy. President Lula da Silva, here in plastic, here in the flesh. Recently in Washington, with a famous admirer, Obama called him the most popular politician in the world. And at home, Lula does enjoy a whopping 80% approval rating. He grew up in grinding poverty, but confounded the critics by shunning left-wing populism and making the increase of the middle class the cornerstone of his administration. Brazil has always boasted the beaches, but now it can also boast the numbers. An economy growing almost 5% a year, soon to overtake Britain. The third largest airline industry in the world, half its cars running on biofuels. And that's before you even get to the World Cup and the Olympics. All this makes Brazil a power to be reckoned with. But then there's this. Welcome to Brazil's hilltop towns of poverty. The view out is fabulous. The view in, not so much. And this is the other side of Brazil. The favela, the slum, also emblematic of this country. And the city of Rio alone, more than 1 million people live in places like this. A warren of violence, drugs, and rocketing unemployment. Improving their lives, that's the real measure of success. Captain Glauco and his men took me on a little tour of an optimistically named slum called Providence. A month ago they conducted what's called a pacification program here, a fancy word for locking up the bad guys, confiscating their guns, and stopping the drugs trade. Until recently, this maze was the gang's exclusive turf, out of bounds for the officers. Now it's officially all smiles for the cameras as we go from door to door. So he said that, yeah, things are a little bit better, but they still have problems here. Specifically, not enough light, the power goes off now and again, then the sanitation is appalling, he said. When we get back to the police station, we find a crowd. These are some of the motorcycle men that used to ferry drugs and weapons to the favela. Now they're out of a job and having to go legit, by getting a license, for instance. Untangling the cycle of poverty here is as complicated as the spaghetti wires that siphon power illegally from the grid. If it really wants to succeed, Brazil must reinvent whole neighborhoods from scratch and introduce a daunting raft of reforms.
We need to have the political reform, the social security reform, the labor reform, the tax reform to make Brazil more competitive.
With slums like these, no wonder they used to tell a joke here. Brazil is the country of the future and always will be. But the bulldozers are moving in, the economy is booming, self-esteem is high, and Brazil has joined that exclusive club of developing nations, busy managing expansion rather than decline. Brazil is already an agricultural superpower. This country exports more meat to the rest of the world than any other country. It wants to become an energy superpower, and it's flexing its muscles on the international stage. The watchword here, Hugh, hubris.
Matt, thank you very much. Matt Fry there for us in Brazil.